Hi folks, thanks for logging in to the ACT webinar hosted by the Princeton Review. My name is Alan Polito and I'm the Executive Director of the Princeton Review in the Greater Orange County area. As you can see, my contact information is listed on this slide, so feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions after watching this webinar. Let's get started. First of all, here is the agenda for today. I'm going to discuss your mock ACT practice test results from the Princeton Review. Then I'll discuss the importance of the ACT. And finally, I'll discuss next steps and how the Princeton Review can help you. First, let's take a look at the mock ACT score report from the Princeton Review. I'd like to point out that this is our own version of an ACT score report, and it is not to be mistaken with the official ACT score report from ACT. Focus your attention on the top part of this score report, and let's go ahead and zoom in. You'll notice that there are 4 sections on the ACT, which are listed from left to right for English, Math, Reading, and Science. Each of these sections is scored from a minimum point of 1 to 36, and then those scores are averaged to calculate the composite score listed on the right-hand side. Hence, the highest possible total for an ACT is 36. For those of you paying attention, you'll see that there's also a percentile number listed under the composite score in our report. On this one it says 79%, and below that it states on the real test this score would be better than those of approximately 79% of 2014 college-bound seniors. That's what a percentile does. It shows you a number, and that number indicates the percentage of people or students whom you scored better against. Please note that we are only able to do this for the ACT because ACT itself has released many years of data, including percentiles that we have compiled over the years. We cannot do the same thing for the new PSAT and the new SAT because they've only had a couple of different official tests released to the public. Furthermore, in your score report, you'll also notice 3 more numbers listed as ELA, STEM, and Writing. I'd like to emphasize that none of these scores are directly linked to your composite, but they are integrated in some ways. Hence, remember that your composite is only found by taking the average of the English, Math, Reading, and Science scores. So what do these other sections mean? ELA stands for English and Language Arts, and this score on the ACT is found by taking the average of your English score, your reading score, and also incorporating your writing score. STEM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math, and the STEM score is found by taking the average of the Math result and the Science result. And finally, the writing score that you see there is scored from a grid of 2 minimum points to a maximum of 12 minimum points. If any of you have been paying attention to recent testing and ACT news, you might already know that the ACT reverted to the 2 through 12 grid after trying for several months a new scoring grid on the writing of 1 to 36. That only served to confuse pretty much everybody who was participating in ACT testing, hence they went back to their old ways of 2 through 12 points. Once again, I will re-emphasize that the composite score is found by taking the average of only the English, Math, Reading, and Science sections. Now, one of the most common questions that we receive whenever students look at their scores is, well, what makes a good or a bad score? Thankfully, we have a lot of history on our side in order to answer that question. Remember when I said that the minimum is from 1 to a maximum of 36? Obviously, 36 is a very good score, and 1 is not that great of a result. If you take a look at the national average, a composite score of around 21 points is considered to be right around the middle, or 50th percentile. When you compare that to college admissions, it's important to note that scoring around 21 or the national average is competitive for many of what we would call state colleges. If you're trying to get into a more competitive university, you're going to want to shoot for 25, high 20s at least in order to be considered a competitive applicant. The hardest schools to get into usually report averages of 31 points or higher on their ACT composites for their freshmen. Now focus on the middle and bottom portions of this score report, shown to you right here. So this is actually something that probably won't matter to you too much if you've only taken one practice test with us. It shows your progress as you take more practice tests, and of course in this case it shows the results that you get for each and every attempt. If this is your first time taking a mock ACT with Princeton Review, this won't really matter too much to you. And we take a look at another page on your score report, and let's focus on this part. So this is our response legend. And first of all, a check mark or a green color means you got it right. Now you might have a color version of your score report, hence the green and the red make a whole lot of sense, or it might be black and white, which means you're going to have to rely on the symbols themselves. That's why we gave you two different ways to identify it. If you have no symbol in the middle part of that box, it means you left that problem blank. And if you have a letter or a red color, it means you got it wrong. Use this response legend and the sectional breakdown to review your test, and of course you must have your practice test booklet on hand in order to do so. And we at the Princeton Review believe that every time you take a practice test and short of a perfect score, you're going to want to review all of your mistakes so that you can prevent them in future tests. Also, please note this testing tip. On the ACT, there is no penalty if you put down an incorrect answer versus a blank response. Hence, if you don't know what to do on any problem on the ACT, it is much better for you to at least venture a guess as opposed to leaving it blank. Never leave a problem blank on the ACT, just guess if you don't know what to do. Now let's discuss the importance of the ACT. First and foremost, many competitive colleges still require the ACT or its rival SAT. If you happen to live in California and decide to apply into any one of the University of California or UC colleges, that schooling system still requires some form of standardized testing, whether it's ACT or SAT. So, of course, since it's a requirement of many competitive schools, that makes it a very important thing. Some colleges and scholarships use your ACT scores to determine merit-based aid. In other words, if you score very well on the ACT, it's possible that colleges and scholarships decide to reward you more money for your college tuition. And that's money you never have to pay back. And again, that's a very important thing. The ACT is one of the last factors you can control and improve after your GPA has been locked in. Some of you might already know that your high school GPA that you turn into college applications stops typically at the end of your junior year. Yes, they will still check your senior year and they will still check your mid-year transcripts to ensure that you didn't catch senioritis too early, but the most important parts of your high school transcript and the accompanying GPA is going to come all the way towards your junior year. Hence, when it's time to apply in September and October of senior year, while your GPA is already locked in, you still have a couple of different attempts to clean up and hopefully improve your ACT score. And while academics are still more important, a higher ACT score can help offset hiccups in your grades. So let's be clear about this. Your academics, which consists of mostly the classes you've taken and the grades you've received, are far more important than your ACT scores. But once you've locked everything in on your high school transcript and you can't take any more classes, you can't go to more summer school, you can't improve those grades any further, then improving your ACT score can help offset even a little bit some hiccups or stumbling blocks in your grades. What about the next steps and how the Princeton Review can help you? First, we'd like to remind you that you should take your official ACT sometime during your junior year. Now, there are two schools of thought in deciding when to take your official exams in the junior year. Some students prepare to take it in the fall, and others will wait until the spring. It's a combination of two things. The first one is how prepared are you to take the exam? And of course, only you can answer that, hopefully through practice and preparation. So take the test when you are prepared and have taken steps to feel prepared. Secondly, you're going to want to take a look at your own calendar to check when is the better time for you to do so. As an example, football players tend to have a harder time taking tests in the fall because that's when their season occurs, and baseball players have a harder time taking it in the spring because that is obviously when their season happens. If you can help it, study for your official exams in the summertime, preferably before your junior year. And that's because you're going to want to avoid as much as possible any conflicts with your academics and your extracurricular activities. We understand that extracurricular activities are a year-round thing nowadays, but hopefully they're not busier in the summertime versus when you are actually going to school. The Princeton Review can help you in many, many different ways. First of all, we can certainly help you improve your ACT or SAT scores, and we have a variety of programs that can help. We sell books, online courses, private tutoring, and classroom sessions to help improve your official scores and therefore your chances at college admission. We can also improve your high school GPA with our academic tutoring. You can actually study to improve your GPA and your grades in pretty much every single subject you can think of 24 hours a day. And finally, our counseling arm can help you find and apply into your best fit colleges, and that's part of our mission statement. If you would like to contact us, feel free to use any of these pieces of information. I also included at the bottom there an email with my colleague Loanne, who is here to help you. If you'd like to reach out to me directly, feel free to use my contact information as listed on the very first slide. Thanks for listening.